You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to Season 3 and episode number 162 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Crier Media Network. Today, recording day is Thursday, I believe it is. Yes, the week is kind of blending in for me. July 13th. Pardon, excuse me for a second.
Oh, he
2023.
hit the cough button. That's what it's called, in the industry. You hit the cough button.
I hit the cough button. I started out a little, I had a little frog in my throat. Yeah. And it, well, so far, we finally got some rain here at the Beaver Lodge. Oddly enough, the last two times we got rain were the same day that I decided, you know what? I need to water the cherry tree. Because we have a rain barrel, so I put the hose to it and I just give it a slow drip. I've done that twice this year, and that very night it rained.
So
I don't know.
You figured it out, have you? You dial in. You've got control of Mother Nature.
And filled the empty orange juice jug and fed the peonies. Because the peonies were like, it's like, you need a drink, and then boom, it rains.
Yes, I do need a drink.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, a lovely Kit yesterday, believe Kit Cassie sent a tiny little tip, a little tip for you specifically, because they had seen that you had the moment that you had gotten some news that did not make you happy, without prying and not asking anything. So somebody just wanted you to know that somebody felt your pain and bought you a coffee.
I appreciate that.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. All right. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronounce he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver, eh? And with me, as always, is my dear friend, Mr. Grizzly, as you have heard if you are listening. Of course, a big thank you goes to our podcast's founding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. And see, today I didn't look.
First time for everything, right?
We have a Thursday morning nibble for you, but before we get to it, let's ask Mr. Grizzly, how's your mental health today, sir?
There's things happening in my world that are upsetting the apple cart, and it affect my mental health as a result. Um, I don't want. I can't get into the weeds on some
No.
things. Some things are, but let's just say I won't be going to Newfoundland. I don't know if I'll make it outside of the region right now. I've basically had to cancel my travel plans for a few different reasons. Shit happens. Life goes on. I'm dealing with it. It's taken a bit of an emotional toll on me, but um, you pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and start all over again. That's what it boils down to. Just some days the universe deals things to you differently than you were expecting them to be, and that's just how it goes. And there's not a damn thing I can do about it. It is what it is, and I'll just roll along with the punches.
Yeah, but if we're looking at reality as reality, you have been going very hard. The last we're in 2 years and something of this, and we've hardly taken a day off. You were looking forward to this, and you needed this.
There's nothing I can do about it.
And you deserved this.
Well, thanks, but it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. So I'm trying to wrap my head around it and find a shining nugget of goodness in there somewhere, because there is. If I look hard enough, I might find it. You got to be grateful. Gratitude. Yeah. Gratitude creates optimism, and you can go from there. So I'm grateful for the time off. My plans have been scuttled. Sometimes that's how life goes, and there's a couple of other things that I'm not at liberty to discuss that are putting a bit of a cloud over my head at the moment. And I'm not going to talk about it. Some things are not meant for public consumption, and it's just how it is. I'll get through it. I'll live to smile and go again another day.
Well, just as someone who cares about you and loves you very much, watching from the other end, you might already know this, but in case you need to hear it out loud, I do not think that you are having a reaction that any absolutely, completely sane and rational person would be having, given the same circumstances. So, I see you.
Yeah, thanks, man. I'll just keep chugging along. That's all I can do. That's all I can do. I mean, it's things are beyond my control. And that's how we've all been alive long enough to know that, things don't always work out the way we want them to. I was supposed to, I was supposed to have perfect teeth, long flowing hair, and either be a goaltender in the NHL or a Eddie Van Halen's best friend and guitar player.
I was supposed to be 6'1" and able to do the splits and the développé to bring.
Well, there you go. See, so things don't always work out the way we want. So we accept the cards that are dealt. We play the hand that we have, and hopefully we get to win a few rounds. I've lost this round. That's okay. I am upset about it because I'm human, and I was really looking forward to this, but I can't do anything about it. It is what it is, and I'll just keep moving forward.
All right.
The only thing I can control. Let me say this. The only thing I can control, and it's going to take effort to do so, but the only thing I can truly control is how I react and respond to this.
Bingo. That my humanities teacher in grade 9 taught me that lesson because I was living in foster homes at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was sitting in the class. Life was something that happened to me.
Yeah.
So I could have very easily gone the path of always being the victim in my narrative.
And it's easy to choose that, right? But you know what? Choosing that, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but it's just choosing that path will destroy you and everyone around you. So, I'm gonna sit with this for a little bit and because it's a blow, it's a punch to the gut. But the thing is, I will recover. I will find something to be grateful for in all of this. And again, like I said, I'm grateful for the time off. I'm grateful for the opportunities I have to meet with you every morning here and and discuss the world and try and make it a little bit better of a place. So, there's gratitude when you look for it. And right now I'm really digging for it is what I'm doing.
Mm,
So
yeah.
please carry on. I cut you
Yeah.
off. I didn't
No,
mean
no,
to, but
no worries. But I was in her humanities class, and just in teaching the class, she had stopped at one point and says, "Remember, it's like even when you don't feel like you have a choice, you always
Mhm.
have a choice,
Mhm.
and your choice is how you're going to react to a situation." I was in grade 9. My mind was blown. It
No
just like
doubt.
flipped a switch, and my whole perspective, right? That shaped the whole perspective of my life from that point on.
I didn't
And
learn that until I
it
was
was
in my 30s.
it was just genius like this. So, Madame Madeleine Leclerc, Valeurs humaines, École secondaire Charlebois. Merci. Thank
Oh,
you.
no kidding.
And Madame Leclerc is also the teacher that informed me about the wonders of deodorant.
Gently, I hope.
Very, very gently. My
Okay.
whole friend circle changed
Yeah,
after
no doubt. No doubt.
that.
No doubt.
I didn't know.
Well,
And my
and you know
foster
what?
parents never told me.
That's not super uncommon. It's not super uncommon.
I did
It's a
not
lot
know.
more common than people know, or
I
people will admit to.
hit puberty at 10.
Yeah.
I had a mustache at 10. I had a hairy chest at 12. I had a full beard at 13. Nobody told me about deodorant. For 4 years, I had hair. Nobody told me.
Oh boy. Wow. That could not have been
10 to
easy.
14 was rough, man.
Yeah, no shit. No shit.
Apparently, some people said some of the comments were talking back the other day. It's like, he smells black. Sometimes when you eat food and the smell of the
Mhm.
food comes out of you. So, right, if you eat a lot of curry, you smell like curry. So everybody
Sure.
thought nobody knew where I was from.
Mm, mm. What your
So, yeah.
genetic makeup is.
So people thought I was like eating something or whatnot. But yeah, they underarm deodorant, just a little.
Yeah, yeah,
It'll change the world, kids. It'll change
yeah.
the world.
It will, absolutely. And not and you use the key term there that I strongly recommend to most people, deodorant, not
Deodorant.
antiperspirant.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Antiperspirant is the
You
jury's still out
you
on it
need to
because
sweat.
yeah. Well, that's just it. The jury's still out on antiperspirant on what, if it's detrimental to your health, because it's still available as a product for sale, but less and less people are using it. And I've thought, blocking the body from doing something that it should be doing. And if you stop sweating, you're going to die quickly.
Mhm. Mhm.
Anyway, I'm getting way into the
Kid
weeds.
Toronto D going, I smell like pizza pops and Pop Tarts. You smell.
Et donnez-moi une Pop-Tart. Avez-vous un Pop-Tart? Happy Halloween. Remember Tete Clack?
I know. I know Kid Linda, so when I eat a lot of garlic, the way they smell Italian, but we're talking about 10 to 14-year-old kids back in the
Different story.
80s. So,
Yeah.
I'm prepared to give a little slack. That's okay. It's not like they said it to my face, right? They just
Fair
told the
point.
teachers, like, can you tell them? And she did, and then I did, and then everything was fine.
Excellent.
So it wasn't like a big traumatic experience. It was just more like just a little side. Have you ever heard about?
Slide it across the table. Here you go.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, just very, very gently. Yeah, it was. Clearly, she had done this before.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. As a
That's
teacher,
all
no doubt. No doubt.
Yeah, right. And you got Kid Mel goes, he smells like a 14-year-old kid. My boys went through the same thing. It's like, yeah, kids, parents, please, if you've got boys, tell them about it.
Yes, let them know. So I've got.
Sorry. And then you got, I just wanted to answer something because I
okay.
saw Mel say, I'm flying to Thunder Bay this morning. Anyone need anything from there? A muffin.
Thunder Bay.
I went to Thunder Bay once for a debating thing. And we were billeted, and we used to go to different people's houses as we're visiting the city. And I swear, every time we knocked on the door and then people welcomed us in,
Here's
It
a
was
muffin.
like within 5 seconds. Hi, would you like a muffin? It happened like about 5 or 6 times over the course of 3 days.
That's odd.
I do not know what it is with Thunder Bay and muffins, but they love muffins.
Remember that chain store, that chain bakery? Muffins?
Muffins?
Do
Yeah,
you remember that? Anybody else remember that? Whatever happened to that? He just disappeared. And I'm like,
Yeah.
they had great muffins.
Yeah. I never even heard it in the news if anything had happened to it.
They started slowly closing, and then there was none.
Yeah. I wonder if they got bought out, maybe.
Maybe.
All right. Okay. And of course, I'm sure that all the kits and cubs are sending you love as well, Mr. Grizzly.
Thank you.
In the news, it's really interesting. There's some Canadian stuff, but and I know we do Canadian politics, but there's some stuff on the American side that's potentially rather juicy.
What I miss?
And I'm sort of torn with where I want to start and how much I want to devote to American stuff versus Canadian stuff.
I think everybody I know in Ottawa last night was at the Foo Fighters show. I didn't go. Well, I've seen them before and I loved it and it was great. And I was able to see Taylor Hawkins, the last time they were here. And I did want to go. So let's just backtrack a little bit. You know how they have the Blues Fest when they release the passes, the pre-sale passes, they're like half of what the regular the festival pass is, right? And I thought, ooh, that's a really good deal. I should probably purchase one of those. But I'm like, I don't know how many shows I can go to, and I'm thinking about taking time off, so I might not even be here. So I can't see it as being a viable. So I didn't do it, which I regret because I would have been able to see the Foo Fighters and Shania Twain for less than what it would have been cost to buy a one-day ticket to each event.
Oh,
right. So it was not a good decision on my part, but it's neither here nor there. So I was like, I had a few friends, hey, Foo Fighters. And I'm like, I don't want to spend the money for just one night. Like when it was $80, okay, but now it's like $140. I'm like, it's a big jump. It's a big jump. And there's always the processing fee and convenience fee, and we're gonna send you up the hoop fee, and it's like there's about $40 worth of fees, if not more, and then tax. I'm like, oh, come on. Come on. Convenience fee? I did this online. You didn't print anything for me. Well, the infrastructure it costs to build up. Yeah, you've been able to do this online for like 25 years. So don't tell me that.
It's like on the phone bill when I still see a charge for dial tone instead of rotary.
It's just a crock of shit, and they charge you with it for it because they can get away with it, and there's not a damn thing you can do. We're the phone company. What are you going to do? Right? So that's why I haven't had a landline phone in 28 years.
I wish I could say I don't. I kind of have to have one because of my allergy. In case cell phones are down, then
I get it.
Something happens.
And there are many people
and the odds of that are like 1 to 75 billion that'll happen to happen. First of all, do something careless enough or be in a situation of cross contamination at the same time as all cell towers go down.
Yeah, I mean, like the odds are.
But I've gone to the hospital a couple of times, and I just don't want that again. So out of panic, I'm throwing Bell X number of dollars a month just
in case. My sister's the same way because her oldest son, my oldest nephew, has got more allergies than I do. So she keeps a landline in the event that he has a shoe phone. All the kids have shoe phones now. If you're old enough to get that reference, you will. And if you're not, you'll have to look it up because I'm not going to spell it out for you. Missed it by that much. But here's the thing. They continue to charge all these extra fees that I can't justify them. And I didn't end up going. And I don't regret it because I was exhausted last night. So I went over to Bridget's place and had dinner with her parents and her son and daughter, and we had a really nice time. So it was, I think I won that round, quite honestly. So,
oh, that is lovely.
Oh yeah, her parents are lovely people too, and her son, poor guy, he was exhausted because he was working out in the hot sun all day. So, but her daughter was lovely too. So, she kind of, I guess, accepted me into the fold, if you will.
Oh.
So. Yeah.
Yay. So, I love love.
Yeah.
Oh, that is wonderful news. Oh, I'm so happy.
Me too.
That brings joy.
Yeah, well, that's why I said find the gratitude somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that. So there you go.
There you go. Okay. Kits, I've got to ask you in the chat, Canadian stuff or the juicy US stuff?
Well, I got
We have the option, right?
I got a clip here for you. I
You
was
start with
gonna,
something. Yes, please.
yeah, I got a quick. I'm only going to start with about. Excuse me. Cough button. I'm only going to start with about a minute and a half of this 4.5 minute video from a person that we are trying to get on the show. Whether it happens or not is another story, but we're trying to get her on the show because we really like her content and we agree with her. And so here is the first minute and a half of this video.
Okay, so we've all seen Eric with his fancy green t-shirt. We saw Danny cozying up to Eric. We saw these two meat sticks standing side by side. I don't know if I'm more offended by Eric's t-shirt or those white sunglasses.
Right.
And there was some backlash to the point where Polyev and Smith both had to come out and say that they don't agree with the message on Eric's t-shirt. But a picture says 1,000 words. And whereas people would need to dive deep to find that messaging, both of them standing with Eric with silly grins on their faces tells a different story. Eric apparently also wants to fornicate with Trudeau. I mean, who doesn't, Eric? And I said it in my other video. Even posing with Eric for the picture gives his messaging permission.
Yep.
And that's just not okay. Now, I've seen the comments on videos and on Twitter. Jesus fucking Christ. The hypocrisy. It was just a t-shirt. What's the problem with the t-shirt? If it's just a t-shirt, then why were people in the States trying to boycott Target because there were rainbows and dinosaurs on kids' clothes? It's just a t-shirt. Now, bigots may think that rainbows are hate messages. They are not. What Eric decided to put on his t-shirt was not just something clever he came up with, because I don't think Eric's that clever, but it's a hate message. And so when politicians stand next to people with hate messages without denouncing it in the moment, because you cannot tell me you couldn't read that, you are permitting that hate message.
Oh, please go on. Go on.
Yeah.
Go on. Yeah. This is good. Go. This is the first time I've
Okay.
seen it. I'm on the edge of my seat. I want to see what comes next.
Okay. I was just going to shorten clips, but here we go. Here's the remainder.
Bring it on. Go, Lisa.
Hate message. Kind of like walking next to people flying schmatzy flags. Now, so far this Pride season, we've seen a lot of bad behavior. We've had vandalism to Pride crosswalks across Alberta. Westlock, Okotoks, Leduc, Edson. It goes on and on. We had Danielle's friends, Ava and Adolf, shut down a Leduc City Council meeting by spewing absolutely grotesque disinformation. We have a now elected MLA spend her time talking about litter boxes in schools and how trans kids brings everybody down. And so it's okay for Pierre and Danielle to say that they didn't agree with the t-shirt, but it means sweet fuck all. For two reasons. Either you do agree with the t-shirt because you took time out of your day to take a photo with Eric. I mean, I'm sure you had a lot of time. I can't imagine there were many people wanting your pictures. Or secondly, you don't have the moral compass to stand up to somebody and say respectfully, I'm not comfortable taking a picture while you're wearing that message that I don't agree with. So you're either a bigot or a coward. Probably a little bit of both. But it's because of all this permissiveness and actual violence towards the 2S LGBTQIA community that the feds had to give $1.5 million for added security for Pride events. Because bigots be cray-cray. Now, I wish I didn't have to spend my days talking about this. I wish we didn't have to keep going through the circular arguments given by these bigots. Leave the children alone! Meanwhile, the RCMP in St. Albert have to spend their days investigating transphobic and homophobic material that was left at a St. Albert playground. Who's grooming children? If you're so worried about your children learning that there are gay people that exist in this world, because you think that's going to turn them gay, they were gay to begin with. But I'm going to give you guys a little tip. If you are truly sick and tired of hearing about 2S LGBTQIA, if you get mad at rainbow crosswalks because they're gay, even though every non-rainbow crosswalk is straight, if you don't want to see them forcing their gayness on you by dressing fabulously, here's the tip. Give me your... Leave them the fuck alone and let them live. Because I would much rather see two gay people walking down the street holding hands lovingly than watch Bubba and Barbara Ann groping themselves outside of a country bar on a Friday night. pushing their sexuality on people. So if the Bubbas stop obsessing about what people do in their bedrooms, and the Barbara Anns stop worrying about what's underneath people's clothing, and we all just let people live, maybe we could spend our time going after the real dangers to children. Because despite trying to label a whole group of people as being harmful, even though statistically it is a tiny, tiny, tiny percentage, you are detracting from the real dangers. The call is coming from inside the house, or the church, or the Christian camp, or the hockey practice. Stop making people have to fight for their existence, and maybe everybody can just exist. Fuck you, Jennifer Johnson. And fuck you, Eric. Something tells me Eric has some skeletons in his closet.
Uh-huh.
I love
That
her
look at the end
so
tells me
much.
she not only something tells her that she knows.
Oh,
Erica
yeah.
said,
Yeah.
Lisa, please, here, Queen.
Mhm.
There you go.
That's
There you
the
go.
crown
You get
for
to
you
wear this
today.
Yep.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Well, she always has such a well thought out, cogent statement to make that literally knocks it out of the park. It's a 500-foot tape measure home run, is what it is, every single time. Yes, you're right, Linda. Every video she does just gets better. That's why we desperately want to get her on the show at some point. So if we, we've reached out to her, and hopefully we'll hear back from her. I'm sure she gets a lot of requests because her channel, her TikTok alone, I'm not even sure. I look at the comments on here, and some of them are just hilarious. Like, I've been following you for a little while now. I have no clue where Alberta is. I'm in the States, but I totally love your delivery.
Hmm?
I love your style, Lisa. Absolutely spot on and clever as hell. Oh, Lisa, you were such a refreshing start to my day. I'm here in Copenhagen, Denmark. I look forward to keeping up with what's going on at home. Like, it's just
Mhm.
constant barrage of admiration and gratitude for somebody who gets it.
Well, the thing is right. It's well written. It's well delivered. It's high quality. Of course, with TikToking, you have the ability to edit, so it always flows smoothly. In terms of the delivery, it's like Unlearn 16 when we had her, on. She was saying, if I'm saying it, like sometimes I might have to do it twice or three times because of some things.
To get the
But if I'm
delivery
saying
correct,
it like this and it's just not coming out, I stop and I don't put that one out.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
that means I haven't thought about it enough yet, right?
Mhm.
I'm not there yet. So she's got all that quality, and then, which is the absolute most important thing when you do what she does or you do what we do, consistency over time.
Mhm.
She sincerely and genuinely believes this
Oh, yes.
when you look at the body of work over time. That's where the gold is. That's where the gold is. She's not all over the place.
No.
There's not an exception for one. One rule, one standard of judgment for all.
Staying focused and on point and never veering from the target.
Yep.
She's good. She's good.
Quality. Chef's kiss.
Now, I did post a link earlier in the chat. I'll repost it. I think I have it here. It's another TikTok. We're not gonna show it, but it's another TikTok. I want to make sure it's the right one. Is it the right one? Yeah, it should be the right one. I posted it in the chat again if anybody wants to click on it. It's a Canadian comedian talking about a certain segment of the population in a certain part of the country, and I'm going to leave it at that. Watch and enjoy. But please do so after our show.
Okay. Well, the only response I got to the Canada versus US thing was somebody who said both, which was not particularly helpful.
I did see a few that wanted
I saw juicy
go with
stuff.
US. Yeah, juicy US stuff. So I'm like, okay. Let's go.
All right. So let's go to the juicy stuff. All right.
Do I have a minute or two? I didn't.
Yes.
I thought I had a full carafe of coffee. It turns out I didn't. I have to make some.
Yes,
So
yes, you have a minute. Yep. I can do something else in the middle.
Okay, I'm gonna go make a fresh pot of coffee with coffee beans that I received yesterday
Ooh.
from Jen. It's going to be the inaugural pot of coffee. So I'll be back in 2-3 minutes. Okay.
Okay. Ooh, gin coffee. Wow. All right. Let's see then. If I'm saving the juicy stuff, the Assembly of First Nations are having their annual Grand Assembly in Halifax, and as we reported not too long ago, National Chief Roseanne Archibald was removed from her position after a virtual meeting that took place with a certain number of the chiefs. I guess it was enough for quorum, but when you add it all together, it definitely wasn't. The vote to oust her was represented about a quarter of the member nations. She basically followed that up with a sort of protest where she stated that her removal had violated the basic rules because it was not done with ceremony, and there are apparently other traditions that happen to need to take place when a national chief leaves, and that was not done. There was some speculation that it could be possible that one of the chiefs bring Archibald with them to the meeting in order to table that, and which would have added stuff to the agenda that possibly could have caused some division, and that they would have had to do it again with her there present, with all the member nations there, represented nations. That did not happen. It appears that there was a vote and her request to be reinstated was rejected. So now there is an interim chief. Her first name is Joanne. Her last name escapes me at the moment for some reason. But she said that Roseanne Archibald was pushing for forensic audit of the organization. The membership hasn't decided whether or not to pursue that or not. I'm guessing that's going to be one of the subjects of discussion. This is something that former National Chief Archibald has been pushing for a very long time. She was at when she was at not the National Chief, but working with the Ontario section. She had pushed for that kind of thing there as well, and there as well. Similar allegations of harassment and bullying and intimidation and fear of retaliation and that type of stuff were made then. So that's where we were saying in a previous show, we don't know enough about this world and we don't know enough about the culture to know whether there actually was some harassment or bullying, or whether or not, when it happens to be a woman and they want to start looking into things that other people don't want them looking into, whether we say harassment and bullying and retaliation. But the interim chief did say that if there was indeed a vote in favor of doing that forensic audit, that she would support it. And it seems that the issue of misogyny is indeed on the agenda, and also the issue of gender and anything related to spiritedness, also on the agenda. So I'm guessing that the community has been seeing what's going on and maybe want to proactively address that, which would be a very, very, very positive thing, and maybe even a good example for the rest of us. So that's going on. Very important. These could be transformative times for the organization. They also want to discuss how the organization is structured, and this one don't take it to the bank from me, this is just the best of my understanding, is that there seems to be a parallel structure where they have the body with the over 640 nations that vote democratically, and then there's another section with regional chiefs. I believe one for each province, 10 regional chiefs. I'm not sure if both sides have equal sway, but there are many within the organization that would like to see a redistribution of power in a rather significant way. So those are other subjects that will be discussed at the annual Grand Assembly. So this one seems to be one of the more important ones in the last few years. So we'll stay tuned because, as we mentioned before with the First Ministers meeting, there's the push from the Indigenous groups to be included as full members at the Council of the Federation and not just people who get 15 minutes once every year to present all the issues related to their nation to heads of provinces when their relationship is with the Crown. A little restructuring might be required. We're entering a new era. Organizations have to tool themselves and retool themselves and acquire the skills and acquire the structures and the policies and whatnot for this new era. Reconciliation's here to stay. That's where we're going. That's where we're going. And to that effect, I heard on the news that in Halifax, which is kind of interesting because this is where the assembly is going on, but for the first time ever, smudging has been allowed at the IWK hospital.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now, for those who are not familiar, smudge is a combination of a braid of sweetgrass, cedar, sage, and tobacco that is put inside an abalone shell. It is lit not to create a flame, but to create sort of like, embers, so it has some smoke. And then the smoke is waved over people, for example, in order to purify or bless them, or in a room to cleanse the room. And this was not allowed at hospitals because, smoke, right? But the IWK has an Indigenous health consultant, and they have brought in a new policy that would permit smudging at hospitals after a 3-year push to have this happen. This is, I believe, potentially the first hospital in Canada that does allow this. Don't quote me on that one, but this is the first time I hear of it. The whole principle of recognizing Indigenous healing practices ties back to one of the calls of action of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's final report. The lady who benefit such a weird word, who received the smudging or benefited from the change of policy, is named Courtney Pinnell. She's the first Mi'kmaq woman to be smudged while giving birth.
Wow. Wow.
So when you think that it's a cleansing and purifying ceremony and you're welcoming someone into the world, and this has been denied, she's the first to have that. She said, knowing that the policies and procedures were published just days before Beau came into the world was like he had been kissed by the Creator. And you want to know what the other kiss by the Creator is? The policy was brought in place by her twin sister, who is the Indigenous health consultant at the IWK. How's that for a nice circle?
I want to respond to James' comment here, and I'll put it on the screen. And I absolutely understand where you're coming from on this, but I do.
It does seem counterintuitive for a hospital to allow smudging. That's why it probably was not the policy before smoke. Right?
But it's a very short process. It's not. You got to remember, you used to be able to smoke in your hospital bed. Right? The HVAC system is designed for it. They used to have smoking lounges in hospitals. The system can handle it, and it's not like there's 300 people having it done all at the same time. So, but I do hear what you're saying. So it's not it's a there's logic to the statement, but I think in this instance, I think they've made the right decision, and it's well, I wouldn't call it religion though, James. That's a belief system. It's not. That's not. In indigenous ceremonies, it's not like there's a certain dogma, or it's not like in Catholicism or Anglicanism, or you know what I mean. It's just a wide variety of.
Comes from a different place.
Yeah, it's not. There's nothing written down. They're traditional things. It's quite a bit different. It's a cultural thing. So, but I hear what you're saying, and I'm not going to argue with you. It does seem counterintuitive, but I'm sure they figured out a way to make it accommodating for all involved and not harmful to anyone else. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They, like this, to have a policy like this, they would not have just dropped it in there and said, "Let's do it and see what happens."
Well, I mean, they, like I said, they've been arguing it for 3 years and whatnot. So I'm guessing that there are certain things that they had to put in place. Anyway, Kit, James, with all due respect, we're not trying to have the debate on the show.
No.
Please.
We're not gonna. We're not. No.
All right. Juicy stuff.
What is the juicy?
Okay, well, it seems that when it comes to the Tangerine tornado south of us, that there's a couple of people that have been doing proffer interviews. Now, if you don't know what a proffer interview is, it's often referred to as Queen for a Day, where somebody goes in to tell investigators proactively, listen, I will tell you everything that I know. And the investigators say, okay, today, if you, want to tell us absolutely everything, then we will not use that against you, but you have to tell us absolutely everything. And if you lie, we'll be coming down on you. Well, Rudy Giuliani once said many years ago that he had an insurance policy. Now, Rudy Giuliani used to be a lawyer. He's kind of disbarred in New York and DC. Lost his license. And I believe he was corruption cases and mob cases and stuff.
Yeah, he was the guy who brought down the mob in New York City, basically.
So he would know all the rules about being a cooperating witness and when's the absolute last possible opportunity at which you could somewhat become a cooperator and still not have any negative consequence happen to you. Well, it seems he's might have pulled the eject button. He had a Queen for a Day interview with Special Counsel Jack Smith.
I'm sure that was
Baby flipping.
informative. Must have been informative.
Mm-hmm. And there's another person apparently that had that type of interview. And then there's another guy named Orwin Schroyer who was, in the room at that hotel on January 6th where Roger Stone and Steve Bannon and
flood the zone with bullshit. Oh no, sorry, that's
the Willard, the meeting at the Willard Hotel. Yeah, he was there, and apparently, Owen Schroyer wasn't a name I had really heard before, so, but apparently, because we all heard about Bannon and Stone, so the guy that we don't really know about or heard about, maybe the reason we haven't heard about him is because he's been talking.
Interesting.
And then it would appear that let's see, that in Georgia, a grand jury is being selected, and that 23 jurors, 3 alternates, are being selected. That's for the perfect call, asking for 11,780 votes. Now it seems that there is a similar call in Arizona where he was asking for fewer votes. Okay. This one will probably be determine whether Trump will be indicted. So that is happening. And then let's see. There's also a person to whom the name has not been revealed yet that I can tell, but charges of conspiracy to violate the Foreign Agents Registration Act, conspiracy to violate the Arms Export Control Act, violation of the Arms Export Control Act relating to Libya, relating to the United Arab Emirates, relating to Kenya, 2 charges of making false statements with regard to Libya, with regard to Kenya, and conspiracy to violate the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. The press release says this person agreed to covertly recruit and pay on behalf of principals based in China. A former high-ranking U.S. government official, known as Individual 1 in this document, including in 2016, while the former official was an advisor to then President-elect. 2016. Who is the President-elect in 2016?
Donald Trump. Or Trump.
To publicly support certain policies with respect to China. It seems that they may have caught an agent of influence who had someone in the orbit of the president-elect in 2016 they wished to recruit who might be willing to exploit their contacts. This was the guy that the Republicans swore up and down that they had a whistleblower that was willing to blow the lid on it. Was Biden?
Sure.
And
Was.
yeah, they were and then they lost him. All of a sudden they couldn't find him. May 14th, 2023, Republican admits key informant agent against Joe Biden now missing. Representative James Comer, a Kentucky Republican, admitted on Sunday that his fellow Republicans lost track of a key witness in an investigation about the Biden family being involved in an alleged bribery scheme. On Wednesday, back then, House Oversight Committee Republicans released a 36-page memo accusing members of the Biden family of earning millions of dollars during Joe Biden's term as vice president under former President Barack Obama from a number of Chinese and Romanian companies they claim posed potential threats to the United States. The memo, a copy of which was obtained by Newsweek, includes redacted images of transactions involving a number of bank accounts purportedly belonging to the members of the Biden family. Network of secret bank accounts, all that kind of stuff. Hunter Biden, blah, blah, blah.
His laptop.
Right. Yes. So, and then a number of the other family members, all of whom Comer, the committee's chairman, accused of using Biden's position to curry favor with foreign governments and peddle influence on a U.S. foreign policy. The documents released Wednesday provide no evidence that President Biden was ever directly involved in the alleged schemes, or even if the payments in question resulted in tangible impact on U.S. policy. It goes on. But meanwhile, let's see. The Kentucky Republican and Senator Chuck Grassley, an Iowa Republican, wrote in a letter sent to the Attorney General Merrick Garland earlier that month in May that they received legally protected and highly credible unclassified information from the whistleblower. They also wrote that the Department of Justice and the FBI would have enough information to determine the accuracy and the credibility of the information in the document. Meanwhile, Fox News host Maria Bartiromo asked Comer during an interview on Sunday Morning Futures about the current whereabouts of the informant, quote, "Well, unfortunately, we can't track down the informant," Comer responded on Sunday. "We're hopeful that the informant is still there. The whistleblower knows the informant. The whistleblower is very credible."
Something's brewing.
Disappeared because it seems that some people who knew that maybe he wasn't a whistleblower was doing stuff like that would lead to charges of conspiracy to violate the Foreign Agents Registration Act, conspiracy to violate the Arms Exports Control Act. Maybe that's why your whistleblower disappeared. Because your whistleblower is a criminal. Pretty big one,
You think?
according to these potential charges. Yeah. Not good. It seems that they have proof of him presenting evidence about buy-in at a European embassy in 2019. It seems that they already know that he and the entity with whom he has been engaged have traded favors. So not only did they make a deal, they acted on it.
Mm.
And a number of Republicans may not have known, and probably didn't know, that this alleged whistleblower that they were banking on to show that Biden was inherently corrupt was doing all that kind of stuff behind the scenes. But now that kind of won't matter now, will it?
No.
See, when somebody offers you something that's too good to be true, think about it.
Probably.
How long has Biden been in government?
Over 50 years.
How many scandals have there been?
Under this current administration?
Biden, period, in his career.
Honestly,
Have you heard one?
I don't know of any.
The worst
I
one
think the only
like
one
massaging is like the word. Is about like the thing.
that the only other one that comes to mind that would be they tried to make hay out of was when Barack Obama, before he walked to the podium to announce the Affordable Care Act, which became known as Obamacare, he grabbed him, put his arm around him, and leaned into and said to his ear, which was picked up on Obama's mic, "This is a big fucking deal."
Mm-hmm.
So that might be the worst thing.
So,
and I'm like, it was a big fucking deal, though.
Yeah. So, if this guy was as inherently corrupt as the Republicans keep on trying to claim that he is, something would have happened over the last 40-something years before he became vice president.
You think?
You think?
50 plus years in politics and nothing.
Of all the senators, he's potentially the least wealthy. He still takes a train back and forth to Delaware.
Well, not as president, but
well, not as president. He can't anymore. But like, come on, man.
I saw a couple of years ago, and this is what security is like. A couple of years ago, just before the end of Obama's second administration, I saw Joe being interviewed on, I'll say, 60 Minutes, and he got behind the wheel of his 67 Mustang, and he goes, "Man, I miss this car." And he goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, I've not been allowed to drive it for the last 8 years." They're like, "What?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, when you're president or vice president, you can't drive anything ever at all." I'm like, that never occurred to me, but yeah, it makes sense.
I think the Queen, she could only drive that little loop in front of the palace.
That was it, and she missed because she loved driving, right? Loved it
when she was a nurse, right? In the war, she was driving, I guess, a Jeep all over the place, right?
Yeah, but you absolutely cannot when you're in that position. And I understand they have professional drivers that are for among reasons, right? But in this interview, it was like on a closed, secure location, and he got behind the wheel of his 67 Mustang for the first time in 8 years, and he was like, "Oh man, I miss this so much." I thought, that's again, I get it.
And then in other juicy news, Fox is getting sued again by a protester and former viewer named Ray Epps. He's an Arizona man who became a figure in conspiracy theories surrounding the riot, and he's suing the network for defamation. The lawsuit filed in the Superior Court of Delaware is the latest in a string of legal filings against the network. This is from USA Today. Stems from conspiracy theories that arose after the failed insurrection that involved Epps that were amplified by Fox News. His lawsuit claims that Fox intentionally broadcasted false information, quote, with knowledge of falsity and reckless disregard for the truth. The suit goes on to claim that the network engaged in a preconceived storyline that, quote, Fox and specifically Mr. Carlson decided that Epps was the villain they needed to distract from the Dominion lawsuit. The suit points towards episodes from the Tucker Carlson Tonight that cast Epps as an FBI agent working undercover to provoke rioters to overturn the election by force. Epps was present at the riot and was on the Capitol steps, but never entered the building, according to the lawsuit. Epps has stated that he has not worked for any police force, though he is a Marine veteran. And the Epps family, of course, has faced multiple death threats and have sold their Arizona home and business due to the barrage because their lives were destroyed.
Yeah.
Other people's lives were destroyed with Shay Moss and Ruby Freeman. Remember in Georgia, the two poll workers who Giuliani said were passing little thumb drives like cocaine bags?
Which wasn't
Because
true,
they're black,
but
right? So-
he just destroyed their lives and didn't give a shit.
Yeah, but they were black, so of course they were passing thumb drives like little vials of cocaine.
He has to throw that in there, right?
Right. So apparently he's been dragging his feet on Discovery, and the judge there said, yeah, you need to do that. And then Rudy said, well, I'm poor, and to like go through all those documents and photocopy them all is going to cost like $300 and something thousand, which makes me wonder how much crime have you been up to?
$300,000.
To go through. And so I can't do that. So the judge says, okay, then prove it. Show me your financials.
Prove it. Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, the pot is brewed. I'm going to get a fresh cup of coffee from our friend Jen. I'll be back in just a few seconds.
So, and then let's see. Oh, also, it seems that when Donald Trump was president and E. Jean Carroll sued him for defamation, the Department of Justice at the time decided that they were going to represent the president as being the president because they claimed that these statements were made in his capacity. Anyway, right. Well, for the second lawsuit, because Trump went to CNN like the next damn day or the same damn day and then defamed her again, Merrick Garland has said, oh, no, we won't be representing you for this one, so you're on your own. And it seems that while E. Jean Carroll didn't ask for any damages at all in the first one, and she got, I think, $5 million, she's asking for 10 on this one. Is it good?
Please excuse me for the following, but that is a damn fine cup of coffee. A damn fine cup of coffee.
There you go. So
good.
I forgot what I was saying. I completely forgot what I was saying.
Went right off the rails.
Yeah, because I had gone off on a tangent.
See, what happens? You turn 50 and everything just falls right out of your head. We have 105 years of life experience between us, and I can't remember what I was doing 20 minutes ago.
I just that you seemed so happy. Gee, if any of the kids remember what I was saying, so sorry. Okay, so and then so I forgot what I was saying. So if it comes back to me or the kids remind me, I'll get back to that. In another, E. Jean Carroll. Sorry, yes. So the Department of Justice is not representing him, and then Donald Trump had I'm going to say the word, the goddamn audacity to sue E. Jean Carroll for defamation, because apparently, because the grand jury didn't rule that he raped her, but only sexually assaulted her. And the only reason for that is because under New York law, because, and trigger warning, they were not face to face.
So
when she was violated, she did not see with which part.
So if they did it canine style, that's completely not rape in the state of New York. Because
she could not tell, not because of the position, but because they were in that position, she could not tell with which part of the body. Whether it was the short stack or whether he literally grabbed her by the Kit Kat. And she was honest about not being able.
Yeah.
Because she could have said.
Good on her, though, for being honest.
That's
wow.
That's the only reason for which it was sexual assault and not rape legally in the state of New York. In another state, the laws might be different. So yeah, he's suing. That we'll see what happens from there. But again, right, the intimidation. That kind of stuff. Now, apparently, he went to, here's the fun part, went to some banks to get a loan for the $5 million to pay back to E. Jean Carroll, and nobody, no fucking buddy.
Here's the fun part, sweetheart.
A penny. Now, he did deposit $5 million in the bank account in order to pay that, so now, how much do you want to bet that the origins of those $5 million are going to lead to more charges?
Oh, I can almost, I'd be willing to put some money on that. I'll put money on that one, because
especially if he may have taken the money for a super PAC. Because that's a no-no, and you're not even supposed to be talking to your super PAC. So how would your super PAC know to deposit $5 million in a certain account to help you if you...
But I thought he was a billionaire. Isn't he a billionaire?
Alleged billionaire.
So a billionaire needs to literally ask for money.
He's the world's most famous panhandler.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Come to my rally. I'll use my accordion hands and say disgusting stuff. Leave a donation. For $1 million a day, you could support a billionaire. In the arms of the angel.
Won't somebody think of the billionaires?
They keep the world going round.
You know what they can all do, right? Long,
make sure you buy a red hat. Right, Kid 10. Yeah.
Buy a hat.
Made in China. Made in
Make
China.
America great again. Made in China. Wait, huh? Hang on a second here. Wait a minute. Make America great again. Buy my shitty merchandise made in China.
Mm-hmm.
I can't make this shit up, man.
Juicy. Not so good news. The state of Iowa passed a 6-week abortion ban. Some exceptions.
Most women know they're pregnant at 6 weeks.
Yeah, right. As soon as you can detect some type of heartbeat or whatever like this. Exceptions for in case the life of the woman's in danger, or in case of fetal abnormalities deemed by the physician to be incompatible with life. So at least she's not like the no exceptions ever, except there's always a catch, right? There are exceptions for rape and incest, but your exception for in order to get the exception for rape, well, you have to report that rape within 45 days to a public or private health agency, which could include a family doctor, but you have to be report. So if you do not report your rape on the schedule that Iowa Republicans and the current governor think is reasonable for them, then you can't get your abortion. And in the case of incest, which usually happens to children who don't even know that they have the right to report, well, they have to report it within 140 days. So yeah, you do get to carry your daddy or your brother's kid.
So basically what you're saying is if Uncle Dad rapes his 13-year-old daughter, stepdaughter, Uncle Dad and Aunt Mom.
And she finds out she's pregnant.
If she doesn't report it within 145 days, she has to carry the term.
Yep. Yeah, but she has to know, right, where she can
Yeah.
go and in 140 days. So basically what they're saying is, no, there is a law
It's horse shit.
that no one is ever going to know 13-year-old or 10-year-old or 40 is ever going to
And it
be able to
happens.
access this.
Yeah, it happens.
So you're going to be forced.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but there's a law. There are provisions.
See, this is why we need to fight, what was it, Bill C, where they want to protect pregnant women.
Oh, that failed. Failed
Yeah,
on
I
second
know.
reading.
Good, as it should, because it was just a backdoor entry into
But
pulling
PP
this
voted
shit.
for it.
Of course he did.
Personally voted for it.
Of course he fucking did.
So when he goes out there and says, "Oh no, I'm pro-choice. I've said it."
No, you're not. Bullshit.
He doesn't vote. He doesn't vote pro-choice.
He'll tell you he is. He'll vote the opposite way.
And that's what matters. How you vote. You can blah 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 and run your mouth all you want. How you vote. We see you, motherfucker.
Oh, we do.
Just saying. And another good bit. You know those oath keepers? The ones that got the seditious conspiracy conviction that got sentenced to 18 years?
Mm-hmm.
It seems the Department of Justice is appealing.
Oh.
Yeah. They say it's not enough.
Oh, okay. We're moving in the right direction on that one. That's what you're saying.
Not enough. The sentencing came under the guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
And the Department of Justice has the option of letting it happen, whatnot. And they said, no, not for these crimes. We want tougher sentences.
And as they should be. Now, are they a deterrent? No, but you're gonna pay back society for what you did. And it's when they use that whole the death sentence is a deterrent. I go, really? And yet America has the highest murder rate in the world. Huh. I don't think it's deterring anybody. You know why? And I've worked in a prison. You know why it doesn't deter them? Because nobody thinks they're going to get caught. They don't think about, well, if I do this crime, will I get in trouble for it? Because if they did, they wouldn't do the crime. They do the crime anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Consequences be damned. So no, it's not a deterrent. It never will be.
Mm-hmm. All right. That's the end of my juicy US stuff.
Well, I have some juicy...
Pretty juicy though, right?
I've got some juicy Canadian stuff. So let's go to Deputy Leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, Member of Parliament for Edmonton Millwoods, sorry. Husband and proud father of 3 children. I've no doubt about that last part.
Mm-hmm.
So yesterday he tweeted, Trudeau continues to fuel the inflationary fire with $60 billion in new inflationary spending, driving up inflation and interest rates. That's 3 times he said inflation in one sentence.
Wow. Someone needs a thesaurus.
Then his next sentence is, Canada's Conservatives, here we go, will bring home common sense by capping costs and stopping government waste to bring down inflation and interest rates. And then he posts this little graphic on the screen. Interest rates rise to 5%. Common sense Conservatives will bring home lower inflation and interest rates.
How?
So please tell me how they're going to bring home lower interest rates. That would indicate to me that they want to intervene and override the Bank of Canada in setting interest rates. Now,
They could always have a terrible economic policy and provoke a recession with it.
But what country would want to invest in Canada when they realize the central bank has no power and the government in power will just play with the interest rates however they feel?
But
this is not good policy.
No, but here's the thing. We all know that Skippy's economic policy is going to be pretty much what Liz Truss did in the UK and imploded. Right? Now, fortunately, we're in a better economic situation. But you know that's the policy.
Oh, yeah.
Tax cuts in exchange for nothing. And then tons of subsidies to people who don't need it. and austerity for the rest of us.
Right. I was just about to say that.
So if you do that and provoke an international price of confidence thing or provoke a recession, well, then, yeah, okay, I guess that's one way to get the Bank of Canada to right. But here's the thing is if we do have the recession that people are expecting is going to come, yes, and now, because our interest rates are not at 0.25, they've climbed fast, but at least they're at, because the price is at 5, interest rates can be cut.
Yes.
Now, in case of recession, because if we had kept them at 0.25 and then we had a recession,
then
we'd be into negative. We'd be paying people to take money.
Yeah. Actually, I'd be
right.
Yeah. If
like
you
when
pay
oil
me to
dropped,
take money.
Right. Like those few days where oil dropped below $0 a barrel because, with all the supply chains, there was no place to store it anymore. Because we will pay you to store it somewhere, please, because we can't stop pumping it. Because it takes so long to come back online once you stop it, right?
It's a slow process. So
they needed some place to store it. So they were paying people to store it because inventory was full or near capacity at one point, or ability to get it there. So he can't do this. He can't bring back lower inflation rates, and he can't lower inflation or interest rates. He can't do any of that.
No, but he doesn't see here. Here's the thing. He counts on you not knowing that. And people thinking, well, he's a politician. He works. He must know what he's talking about. But they also know, look, politicians lie, but nobody, I think, has ever lied so damn often on every single thing he talks about. So he wants to lower inflation and interest rates. How about that inflation? Let's see here.
May 2023 percentage change over the same period over last year, according to the OECD. Ooh, Turkey's in a bad spot. 39.6%.
Look at Canada, 3.4%. And then the other ones, with the exception of Costa Rica at 0.9, Switzerland 2.2, 2.8, 2.9, 3.2, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4. Oh, look at that.
Out of the OECD countries, everybody has a higher rate of inflation than us, except Costa Rica, Switzerland, Greece, Denmark, Spain, Japan, and Korea. The G7 average is 4.6. We're at 3.4. The Euro era average is 6.1. We're at 3.4. The OECD average is 6.5. We're 3.4. The European Union average is 7.1. We are 3.4.
But we don't care about those other places. We need to lower our. Wait a minute.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. If we are at 5% inflation, 5% interest rates because of Justin Trudeau, and our inflation's at 3.4. What are interest rates in countries where inflation is 39.6? All of a sudden, we have 5% interest rates because of Justin Trudeau is actually a selling point, isn't it? 5%. 5% as opposed to 0.25. Oh my God, that's so terrible. But 5% as opposed to 14,
20.
What are our near peer nations doing?
We're doing better than all of them.
Listen, it's cold comfort to say, hey, it could be worse. It could be way worse. Look at these guys. But in a world where it's pretty bad for everyone, out of that list of countries, there are very few of them that are between 2 and 3%, even some of their, right?
And many of those countries don't have the social safety net that we do. And our social safety net needs to be, it's got holes in it. We need to sew it up. We need to fix it. Not arguing that. But, compare them to us, and we're doing much better.
So, yeah. We're doing about as good as possible.
Yeah.
Considering all the circumstances. He's claiming he can do better. He's claiming that, well, first of all, he's claiming that this is awful. Number one, because, conservatives never miss an opportunity to talk down Canada, especially on the international scene.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Remember, Canada was one of those European welfare states. That was Harper.
What happened to Team Canada?
Yeah, they're not on it.
No, they're on team whoever pays me the most money.
Yeah, they're not on it. Mulroney's on Team Canada.
Yes, he is.
He helped when we had to negotiate with NAFTA. We had an occupation that was closing the border. They said, let's see how long this lasts so the PM wears it.
Yeah.
Not the same conservatives.
No.
Not even close.
And this brings me to my next graphic. Every single day, we need to choose hope over fear, diversity over division. Fear has never created a single job or fed a single family. And those who exploit it will never solve the problems that have created such anxiety. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. I don't think fear has fed a single family or created a job, but it's made people wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
It's made rich people richer.
Mm-hmm.
But meanwhile, Skippy will just continue to rage farm.
And we can't even say it's created. It hasn't created a job. There's a whole fear industry.
There is a fear.
Let's face it. The entire Conservative Party of Canada and everything that supports it, like the whole media chain and the Canadian Taxpayers Federation.
Yeah, it's all based on fear.
You ever see the latest one from him?
No, I haven't.
An EPP standing in front of Parliament. He's got a national post, the one that has the cover of Olivia Chow with that. But he's talking about interest rates. So and he takes it and he flips it and then goes like this. And he's got the same annoying freaking glasses as PP. He's got the same annoying rhetoric. He's got the same annoying flapping the arms, the same annoying fingerprint. He's even got the same freaking annoying voice.
Well, these guys are all clones of one another to some degree or another.
Same shtick, same everything. Ask the Canadian Taxpayers Federation to release their membership, though. Then you'll see what their commitment to transparency is like.
Oh, no, we can't do that.
Is it time for some synchronized tea drinking? Yeah. Canadian Taxpayers Federation. They don't represent taxpayers.
They don't.
Literal advocacy arm of the CPC.
It's that, and they do represent some taxpayers.
Some.
The ones who pay very, very little because they hide their money in offshore accounts. They represent those people, but they don't represent me. They never have. They never have, and they never will, because I'm one of the poors. I'm a working class stiff. They don't give a shit about me and will throw me into the meat grinder of an economy that they're trying to create. Which brings me to one more thing. I'm going to share this, and we'll read this tweet. This is from Jeff Walters, at Jeff Walters, Saskatchewan. I'll blow it up so we can see it a little bit better. 6 months after the last meeting, when Ottawa promised $196 billion in additional health funding, the money isn't flowing yet because no province have met the one condition: creating targets and timelines to show the money will be used to improve access to care. And there is a link to a Globe and Mail article. Premiers need to get serious about healthcare reform, not just funding. Give us the money. Give us the money. Give us the money. Okay, no problem. Here's the money. But before we hand it to you, we'll commit this money to you. But before we actually hand it to you,
you need to do the thing you promised you would do.
And you haven't. You have not fulfilled your end of the contract. And let's see, what are most provinces run by? Oh, conservative governments.
Maybe that explains all those OB units and emergency departments shutting down.
Across the province of Alberta, and emergency units shutting across several towns and cities in Ontario. And right. Give us the money. You have to spend it on healthcare. No, it's just give it to us. No, I don't think I want to do that. There are strings attached to this money. It's meant for healthcare. It has to be spent on healthcare.
Give it to us now.
Doug has $22 billion surplus. You should not have a surplus as a government.
That's for other things. I need more money.
And he still hasn't accounted for, what is it, 2.1 or 2.2 billion in COVID funds that just, we can't find them.
It. Can I has more? And cheeseburger? And Tim Hortons smile cookie? Please, Daddy Trudeau. Can I has more?
And what Linda's saying right here is exactly the correct thing. I'm actually glad the feds are holding up the funding. Don't give them one nickel without receipts, because they're not going to spend it on healthcare. Oh, actually, no, I'm wrong. You know what? They will. They will spend it on healthcare. Private, for-profit healthcare. not public.
And
That's what they'll do.
well, you know what? And here's the other thing. Not only did the government not fund that, I'm glad Caitlin said that because she reminded me of a story that I had noted and never got a chance to put on. But from March 10th, 2023, Ottawa clawing back almost $14 million in health funding from Alberta over private fees.
We tried to tell people in Alberta. Nobody wanted to listen. We tried to tell people in Ontario. Nobody wanted to listen.
Alberta's healthcare payments from Ottawa could be clawed back by $13.8 million as federal government says it and other provinces saw patients charged out of pocket for private services. Health Minister Jean-Yves Duclos announced that the federal government will be deducting $82.5 million in Canada Health Transfer cash from 8 provinces over private billings in 2020-2021. He said, under the Canada Health Act, no Canadian should be paying out of pocket for medically necessary services. Quote, there has been evidence of residents paying out of pocket to access diagnostic services such as ultrasounds, MRI, and CT scans, services that should be accessible at no cost. This is not acceptable and will not be tolerated.
Good.
$82.5 million worth. That's how much your mostly conservative premiers tried to take out of your pockets for CT scans, MRIs, and ultrasounds, among other things.
Well, that makes me want to bring this little thing, and here it is, because this feeds right directly into that. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the graphic. I'll put it on the screen. From, she was told to pay for medical tests that seems to still be covered by OHIP. People can no longer tell which medical tests are covered because Doug Ford is quietly privatizing medically necessary tests. Keo Maroon, the vestibular head impulse test is one of the tests you are referred to have and are most important tests for vestibular function. It is not covered by OHIP as of July 1st, 2023, and we will require a payment of $120 on the day of your appointment. So they're under investigation right now.
Just so you know that, wondering, the vestibular system is a complex set of structures and neural pathways, that contribute to our sense of proprioception and equilibrium. It detects the position and movement of our head in space, allowing for the coordination of eye movements, posture, and equilibrium. So, you kind of need this. Like, really.
Well, and let's take a look at this story here. This is from a CTV website. However, the website, okay, do I need me to blow that? I'll blow that up a bit so people can see it a little bit better. I am going to read it, but I need to blow it up so I can see it better too, because I'm old. As we just said, TGH, Toronto General Hospital, on Monday confirming an upcoming appointment for the VHIT next month. It's not covered by OHIP, blah, blah, blah. And however, the website for the clinic notes that vestibular tests and hearing tests are covered under OHIP. So Akio Maroon posted a redacted version of the email on Twitter, viewed by more than 270,000 people, and received a response from the Ministry of Health a day later. There have been no changes to coverage for VHIT under OHIP. VHIT, the ministry posted on Tuesday. It is against the law to charge for an OHIP-covered service. In response, the University Health Network, which oversees TGH, told CTV News Toronto it is currently investigating the situation. Meanwhile, Maroon is left wondering, what do I do? I'm not medically cleared to go back to work. I've been living off my savings, and that is dire. The medical tests under question are required to diagnose a condition that has resulted in Maroon being placed in a medically induced state twice after her body felt like it was in a parachute constantly spinning faster than a roller coaster. Mm-hmm. She said the test, she said, it is medically necessary. I can't move. I can't eat. It's debilitating. As a single mother of 2 children who also takes care of her aging parents, Maroon said she'll have no choice but to pay for the test and even dip into her retirement savings if it comes down to that. If you can't afford it, then you don't get tested, and you either live with being sick or you die poor. Those are the options I'm left with. This is what conservative governments are doing to our health care across the country in every province, and they're demanding more money from the federal government.
Yep. Of the deductions to payments to Alberta, British Columbia, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia, 76 million was for patient charged levied for diagnostic imaging. An additional 6 million was also deducted for patient charges, including those levied for insured services provided at private surgical clinics and for access to insured abortion services. Quebec's $41.9 million clawback accounts for more than half of the total amount. So Quebec is the worst offender, and for everybody out saying, no, why does Quebec get everything like this? When it is required, there's action. Quebec is not treated differently. Quebec just made different choices for itself. Altogether, the money amounts, and here's the kicker, right? I said it's $85.2 million that they've come and gotten out of your pockets by making you pay for stuff, right? Because that's how much is being clawed back. You know what $85.2 million represents to all these premiers? 0.2% of the transfers Canada issued provinces and territories. They're taking $85.2 million out of our pockets, $120 at a time, or whatever that amount is, in order to save 0.2%.
Well, and it's been an incremental creep. Do you remember when you used to be able to go to see your optician to get your eyes tested? And you just showed them your OHIP card. They tested your eyes, gave you your script, and you walked away. Well, no, it's like $150. We can thank Dalton McGuinty for that because he's the one who cut that funding.
Yep.
So it's incremental. So if you were over 65, I think it was still free, and Doug wanted to cut that out as well.
Yep.
So if you were under 18 and over 65, it was still covered, but he was going to cut that, and people got up in arms. And I'm like, wait a minute. Can we go back to what the McGuinty government did?
Yeah, can we settle?
Because $120 to get your eyes tested is expensive.
Yeah, I think you can go once every 2 years instead of once every year.
Once every 2 years, but
for free.
I still paid. It was 120 at the time, and I think it's 140 now.
But isn't every second year free now?
No.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
Oh, you pay.
Okay.
If you were under 65 and over 18, you're paying every time you go, period.
Oh, well, there you go.
I only go every 2 years, although my last test was 5 years prior because there's that whole, things.
Yeah, same here. All right. What else do we have for you here? The BC port strike has had the mediators agreement handed to them. So the BC port strike. Let me try that again. The International Longshore and Warehouse Union, I was trying to just freelance the segue and it didn't work. I face planted. The International Longshore and Warehouse Union and the BC Maritime Employers Association were given by federal mediators the terms of an agreement, because yesterday the labor minister said that they had up until 24 hours to come to an agreement of their own, or else the mediator would present them the terms of an agreement, because according to the labor minister, they are not that far apart, and it does not justify keeping work stoppage that is costing the nation $500 million a day going. He said, I am confident that when the members on both sides see the details of these terms of an agreement, they will go along with it. Now, I'm fairly confident because Seamus O'Regan Jr. is one of those ministers that doesn't get a lot of airtime, but he's extremely competent. And he's, if you hear interviews with him, he's one of these politicians that if you hear him do politics in full sentences, he's absolutely fascinating. And he's on top of his files and really engaging. And again, there's some people in the Trudeau team, Sean Fraser, Karina Gould, Randy Boissonneau, and I just said his name. Oh my God. Seamus O'Regan Jr., Jonathan Wilkinson, who have Anita Nand. But I mean, we all knew that about them, but who are extremely competent, extremely knowledgeable, and just fantastic in interviews. Like Buttigieg, fantastic in interviews. They should really be out more, up for it more. So I have a sense that if he's saying this is because he's personally worked rather hard on it as well. And so I would have a feeling that hopefully things will be good. They have until 10:30 a.m. BC time this morning to agree to the terms, without which the possibility of back to work legislation may be considered. Of course, again, the main issues at play are port automation, cost of living, and outside contracting. The International Longshore and Warehouse Union are basically saying our employers have no problem making more profits, but for some reason they don't want to make sure that we can live.
Well, it'll eventually trickle down, right?
Right, it'll eventually trickle down. Yes. Of course, anything involved with the business association, in this case, the Greater Vancouver Board of Trade, CEO Bridget Anderson, standard answer. So we are calling on the federal government to do what's necessary if either side opts out and pass back to work legislation if required. Now, if it is true what the minister is saying, that these parties are not so far apart that it doesn't make this, right, then yeah, it a little incentive. But the one thing I like about this government is that it seems it seems to be okay with letting processes play out, because basically, as we reported, the chambers of commerce and whatnot were calling for this, for back to work legislation to almost be passed before there was a strike even started, right?
Yeah.
So under conservatives, like, you don't get to strike one day.
No,
right?
no.
Here you get to strike, 7, 8, whatever. Like, let's see how it wears out, and then if things start looking a little ridiculous, then there's action, which is how it should be. You should let the labor process play out a little bit. Speaking of labor process, but not here in the United States, it seems that the SAG-AFTRA unions, all the big unions that like this, have turned around and recommended unanimously that the SAG-AFTRA union vote on a potential strike today and vote for a strike. The screenwriters have been on strike since early May. SAG-AFTRA represents about 160,000 actors, and their main concerns are AI, being replaced by AI, increases in minimums. So probably not for the big stars, of course, right? Because that's not going to help them. But, for people like me, for example, because of cost of living, and also better, because with acting, there's often like residuals in traditional acting, right? If your television show has more than X number of episodes, it goes into syndication. Well, when it goes into syndication, you get extra things. If you residuals, if you film a commercial, if it airs more than 13 weeks, commercial, if it's originally a 1-minute commercial and gets cut down to a 45-second or 30-minute, you get extra for that. So all these residuals and that type of stuff, given the age of streaming and all that kind of stuff, and direct, there are other things, there are other profit centers now, and they want to be compensated for their work in those areas as well. So.
Well, I'm just reading here. It's the first time both actors and writers are on strike in over 60 years.
Yeah.
And I read a leaked email online where somebody at a big studio whose name was redacted said, we'll just wait until winter, and then they'll start to lose their apartments and their houses, and then they'll have to go back to work. So he's just trying to freeze them out. I'm like,
Yep.
Greedy bastards.
Yep. So if this drags on, get ready in the late fall or winter for a whole lot more reality shows and game shows and animated series. And animated series, you need voice actors for that. So gonna be interesting. All right, Mr. Grizzly, do we have a show?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
We do.
Okay. One little thing. In the United States, inflation dropped from 4% to 3% month over month. So that has prompted the bank to say that they might raise interest rates one more time, but they'll probably stop and take a pause, which increases the odds that we'll be taking a pause here on this side as well. And our numbers will come out on the 18th, so we'll have more information then. All right. That's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver podcast. We hope that you love listening to us because we love making this for you. Remember, sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. So please tell your peeps and poops about us. We love it when you do, because democracy is something that you can do. Please, like I said yesterday, it would really mean a lot to me if you wrote a letter to an MP, an MLA, a senator, or media outlet, asking them not to give a free pass on this gay stuff.
Please.
This straight pride
I mean,
stuff.
they got a free pass on the Nazi stuff, so they're going to get a free pass on this too. We know that, but we'd like to try and, let them know that we're not fucking cool with it.
And I know it's selfish because, what happened last Friday as well. That is motivating this on my part. I will openly admit it. But
self-serving, but it's self-serving that I can 100% get behind.
Yeah. So, if you could, thank you. If you really like this podcast, you can find us on the Crier Media Network, as well as all Beaver Grizzly friendly platforms. Stars and reviews are appreciated. And if you missed Dean's show yesterday, Charles Adler was on it, and they had a pretty significant discussion.
Yeah, they did.
With regard to this kind of stuff. So
it was good.
Give it an ear. Give it an ear if you can. We'd love to hear from you. Reach us on our Facebook at True North Eager Beaver, Twitter at True Eager, or by email at truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. Have a great day, kiddies. I see all you talking to each other there. That's so nice. Why not subscribe via our pod page, podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver, lowercase letters, all in, not one word, sorry, lowercase letters with a hyphen between each one of those words. And that little squiggly here, that's right under my chin. That's where you go to get to our pod page, and you can subscribe. And that means we come directly to you the very second we have something posted. So there you go. Why not also subscribe to our True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube channel? That helps us out big time, and we're getting so close to 300. Thank you, kiddies. We really, really appreciate it. It's just over a year old.
Yeah.
It started it on Canada Day last year. So, Mr. Grizzly started it on Canada Day, and he says, "Hey, I did the thing." It's like, that's a pretty darn good thing. Thank you. We can't do this without your kind and generous support. So if you feel that we've done a particularly good show, or if you're watching, you can scan the QR code by Mr. Grizzly's head, and that will bring you to the Eager Beaver Lodge Emergency Hydration Fund. We're parched. We're parched, kitties. Dry throat. Keep these babies humected. These are the money makers right here. And if you are listening, then please let your fingers do the walking, or use your voice prompt command to go to coffee, that's ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, all in the lowercase letters, one word. And that's where you can make your donation, as some wonderful kits recently have, Mr. Grizzly. The kits are very much spoiling us this month. Yes, they're being very kind to us. So thank you very much. So thank you to Kit Cassie Lake, who has been generous to us because, first of all, for coffee for Mr. Grizzly, hope his day gets better. Thanks for sharing your mornings.
Thanks.
That was yesterday. And then a few days prior, thank you for the best laugh of the morning, i.e. PP equals Millhouse. Cheers, and put those towards your favorite frosty summer beverage, because right now, as a progressive conservative, I would rather support your Caesar fund than PP. Much love from the tall grass prairie.
Thank you.
So thank you, Kit Cassie Lake, for that generosity. And Kit Linda M., thank you, my dear, yesterday. Much appreciation for my daily Beaver Grizzly fix. Love you guys.
Thanks.
It's mutual. Thank you. You are very, 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 very good to us. So thank you. Thank you so much. And all of you. I mean, I say it, like this, and I put it online and whatnot, like this, but we really do have the best audience in all of podcasting. You guys are really amazing.
Yeah, you're right.
And Mateo, hey there, young man. How's it going? Mateo says bye to us.
All right.
Hey, bye, Mateo. Have a wonderful day. I hope you have lots of fun. Okay. Play hard. Rest hard. Listen to your parents. Okay. Have a wonderful day. All right. Mr. Grizzly. Oh, I didn't do the sign off
Yeah.
from the Beaver Lodge. This is your eager beaver saying, until next time, dear kids, it could be a tough world out there. So please be kind to and gentle with yourself. We love you both so much. Thank you, Kit-chan. Mr. Grizzly, before you go, do you have some words of wisdom for us?
Yeah, I kind of started the top of the show with it, and this is how I'm going to end the show is search for something that, search for the gratitude today. Gratitude will give you optimism, and optimism will carry you on through the tougher times. And when life gives you lemons, hey, free lemons.
Lemonade, a cool, refreshing drink.
Okay, Elvis.
Mr. Grizzly, please roll the credits.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
I'm guessing you won another tennis match, did you?
It's a winning streak.
Yeah, keep rolling. Looks like you got sunshine there. It's overcast here, but I don't know if it's going to rain.
Yeah. I was down 0. I was up 3-0. I was down. No, sorry. It was that match last week that ended 6-6 because my friend was getting a little dehydrated and said we were going to play through. I won.
Cool.
And if we had played yesterday, you just counted yesterday, I still would have won 6-4. So, boom.
Awesome.
Yay. All right, kids.
Awesome.
Have a great day. I'm going to try to make it 3
See
later.
ya.